Greetings, royal queens and kings. It's your host, Queen Tulsa, and welcome back to the Queen Tulsa Show. Tonight, oh my goodness, it is very much so interesting. It is very, very, very interesting. And Katt Williams is definitely still back in the news. And, clips are resurfacing about Bernie Mac and, Katt Williams. And, it's really starting to look like that the industry has really got bust wide open, And so it's just a lot to unpack. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Hello and welcome. Thank you all for coming by. I really appreciate you. Oh, absolutely. Please like, share, and subscribe. The Goddess Tulsa Show. Welcome. Please like, share, and subscribe. Now is the time to go ahead and get ready for the show. We have some great news for you. Okay? We're going to have a great time. So I really, really, really appreciate you and your dedication to showing up. Gratitude. Don't be afraid to hit that cash app. And don't forget to smash that like button. All right. So I know you are curious just as well as I am, right? And so without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and start playing some audios and then start playing some clips of kind of what went on, right? Between these actors and you know where it all started from. Okay, so let me go ahead and get on over here. Let's get our banner up, right? And there was another interview that Katt Williams had did. But child, let's be honest. We've got, let's see. So let's go ahead and bring up this interview. And this was from a channel, it's a man named Willie D, and he's on Facebook. I mean, he's on Instagram. He might be on Facebook, but how I found the video was on YouTube, right? So, without further ado, I wanted to go ahead and bring up this clip because, like I said, Katt is still talking. Katt has he actually has some comedy tours that he's selling out of, and he's trying to pretty much get it all out there, right? Get it all out there. So without further ado, here is the interview.
But
Let's listen
consequently,
to it.
even as a kid, I'm making like $6,000-$7,000 a year. And this is
at 12 years old?
Before that, at 10. At 10. Just because that's what I was allowed to do. And I'm a hustler by nature. Like if I get a hold of a lick, I want to see how many times it flips, not if it.
Okay, I can definitely understand where he was coming from there, Katt is just not like your basic guy, He's not your basic guy. He's got full of talent. He educated himself. And I really feel like he put in the work necessary in order to, to be where he is today. It's not where you start from. And if anybody has a story from like rags to riches, I would say that it would be Katt. I would really say that it would be him. He built it from the ground up. Let's go.
Flips, you know what I mean? So once I'm gone from there, I'm trying my hand at other things, door to door, and I had already made $1 million before I was 18, doing door to door across the country. So I had already tested out what were the positive things about me and how I could use that to my advantage economically from an early age.
Is it true that you emancipated yourself from your parents at 13? Because I read that somewhere.
Well,
Wikipedia says something like that.
I wouldn't shame the family. Well, I would say is that it can't be called run away because I didn't run away. I left, but I don't tell that part of the story just because there's a 0 chance that if a young person listens to me and follows my example on that they'll be okay. But I knew.
Well, let's talk about it. Like I said, from the rags to riches, you know, there was a point where he did leave home, but he found his independence at a very young age, and at 18 to made $1 million. Not many 18-year-olds can go out there and do that. I mean, 18 years old, you're talking about somebody getting out there and really exploring life for what it is, and, you know, not really knowing what life is really about. They're just living a free spirit life. I mean, 18, I think I was very free spirited, you know? All right, let's get into it. Let's go.
Knew I would be, but, you know, I was a little off. Like, I knew Jesus left home at 13. So I didn't feel like I was out of pocket in any way.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that at 13 years old, you was cognizant of the story of Jesus leaving home at 13 years old?
I had been accepted to college before I was 12. So I was already a little bit more advanced than your average child. I had probably read 10,000 books at that period in my life. So I was blessed in that way. But as you know, you can't really just live on that. So God navigated where I was able to see the underworld, if you will. So I go from my parents' house in Ohio to Miami, Florida by myself. I don't know nobody.
You want to know what's so interesting is risk taker believing that there's a higher power and trusting that things will work out. And it goes back to pretty much like, you know, your thoughts become a reality, you know? Your thoughts become a reality. And so I feel like Katt Williams is definitely out there really doing what he has to do. But I feel like that first interview that he did on Shannon Sharp, it's called Club Shay Shay here on YouTube. He really rocked the internet with that interview. Listen here. The video was at about 25 million the other day. I don't even know what it is right now, you know? But let's listen to Katt, and I'll go ahead and do my research and give you guys an update on where they are in viewership.
And that's where the story begins. But
in your formidable years, who is that person? Was there a single individual who inspired you, or some guy or a person that you looked up to and you said, you know, I like the way that they move and I want to model myself after that person?
Yeah, this is going to be a weird answer. Yes, that's one of the things that I was probably the best at. I did it with anybody and everybody. So when I was going to the library, I wasn't reading fiction books. I was reading nonfiction books, and it didn't matter what it was. I know whatever's in this book, I don't know what it is. So I might have read like 1,000 autobiographies, just the life of people that I don't know. And when you do that, you find out that if you were trying to learn something from everybody, you could actually learn something from every single person that you met. And so it's that type of thinking that helped me avoid the pitfalls as I saw them.
And you know what? I can actually agree with Katt on that. in so many ways because when I was younger, I always had like older friends. Like my friends were always way older than me. And at one particular point, I do remember like, I'm learning all their mistakes. So as I'm gracing through life, I can use these tools to navigate. I could detour a lot of possible negative outcomes, right? And so with hearing what they were going through, I'm like, I don't want that for myself when I'm their age. So what can I do to, you know, avoid that? And it was listening to their mistakes and keeping it moving. Let's go.
them. So the reason I never did drugs when I was an adult is because when I left and went to Miami and I'm living in a park, it's 30 people out there from all different places and they all are homeless and in a terrible situation just like me. And they telling me that they used to be lawyers and doctors and nurses. And I'm going, well, what happened? And all of them is telling this story where everything in their life was fine. And then they dealt with this drug and this is where it ended them out. So as a kid, I never saw the fun part of drugs. I never heard about nobody having a good time on drugs or, oh, you got to take this so you can feel it. I didn't see it from that way. I had already seen what it would do to people. And they're telling me, like, I'm letting people tell me, hey, don't do this. Don't get to Hollywood and start sleeping with white women and doing cocaine because it'll kill you. Oh, yeah, no problem. Got it.
See, I think that's the big message in it. When giving advice, are you really going to take it? This is the link to where I got the full interview. If you all want to just go over there and like listen to it without any interruption. Here, I have to give commentary on it because it is a fellow creator's video interview. All right, so let's get into it. Okay, so Katt is pretty much telling us how he grew up, the experience that he experienced, the way he navigated his life, the way he avoided certain things when it had come to the industry. And pretty much how you define your craft is by always learning. It's always going to be a learning curve with anything because things are changing every day, every hour, on the minute. Let's go.
So, in a lot of things, I was just stupid enough to get the lessons, but that came from being willing to learn something from everyone.
Yeah. How long were you out on the streets?
Well, it sounds so harsh when you say on the streets. Just understand that I'm in slacks and a shirt and a tie every day, and I'm eating at a 5-star restaurant because I done worked this deal with the restaurant where I come in at 5 a.m. and I come and do the floors and clean up everything the bus people didn't do, knock out the old dishes. I do all of that, but I get to eat there for free. So I come later and have a 5-star lunch as a 12-year-old because I'm already smoking cigarettes, but I got a mustache, so I don't look out of place. And then I go and I do my 8 hours in the library to take the place of what schooling would have been. So 2 hours were spent collecting radios from people's cars at the marina, which funded me to at least have $700 or $800 a week in my pocket. So that was the situation for, I'll say, 12 months.
Was there somebody who came along, a social worker or something like that, and saw you and said, yo, or talked to you, was like, yo, I can help you out, or you should do this or that?
No, you're looking at it a different way than I was looking at it. I wasn't in a pitiable situation by any means. I was free. And it was an adventure that I was on. And I had already read all of these books. I know how this goes. I know that a terribly scary adventure is nothing for the warrior. He doesn't need to be in it.
Okay, let's stop it right there. I really enjoy listening to Katt when they're having like these real conversations because It's like he lets you know, hey, I'm just like you. I am human. You know, um, I've been through things in my life, and you know, instead of ever putting myself in a compromising position, I always said that I would work for what I wanted, you know. And I feel like he established that at the proper age, you know. it, when we think about our children, what is the appropriate age for them to learn responsibility in the home before they leave? Okay, get into it. Let's go.
The position, there is a God, and he's going to see you through. You just have to make sure that you're hitting the marks to qualify for the blessing. So I was never in a situation where someone would think that I needed some assistance.
Where were you sleeping at?
In the part that I told you about, across the street from the library in Coconut Grove.
Like on the ground, on the bench?
No, I had a mattress out there. I had money, so people would get you stuff.
Why didn't you just take your money and go get a crib?
At 13?
Yeah.
It never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Never crossed my mind.
Because I really do. I know it's young, but I do know people who are very young. If somebody is young enough to go out on the streets and just say, I'm leaving home.
Yeah.
A lot of times, and if they got money, they're savvy enough to.
It's not
get
that I have
to
money.
pay them.
I'm making some money. I don't have money. I'm making.
Okay. So that's the thing when you talk about, okay, well, people be pocket watching. He said he didn't have money, he made money. And he made do with what he had. And I don't think that a lot of people understand that part right there. Make do with what you have. Because they haven't had to do it. You know, sometimes everything was given. You know, sometimes everything was just given to them. You know, let's be real. And so until you have walked a road, you wouldn't understand. You really wouldn't. You really wouldn't understand the struggle. You wouldn't understand that. It would seem like it's too far-fetched. You would think like, oh my God, well, what individual would do this, you know? And so, yeah, you definitely have to take a step back, right? First of all, take a step back, breathe, you know, assess the situation, and then push forward. But I've got to congratulate Katt Williams, you know, on this whole journey that he's been on, and for him not bending and folding and not giving up. Because who would have ever knew that miracles do happen? I mean, looking at his life. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Some money.
Enough to get by.
Well, I'm saying I don't have a long list of needs on the daily. I need to eat well. I need to drink well.
And where are you keeping your money? Like in your pocket?
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
Anybody ever try to rob you?
No, I did have somebody try to violate me while I was out there. I think because I didn't know really what gay people were. So I wasn't really clear. I knew how gay people acted, as I had seen, but I wasn't aware that it had a sexual connotation to it. So as soon as the guy kept talking to me like he liked me, I was really confused because guys don't like guys. And I'm trying to figure out, is there something about your background that makes you talk like a lady while you're talking to me? But yeah, I had that as a situation. But other than that, no.
Let's talk about it. An individual in a vulnerable place, he was vulnerable. You know, if he was going to do anything and if he was going to like flip, I think that he would have did it then, right? And this is my thing. I don't care what a person does in their personal life, right? Do you, but keep it real, keep it funky. If he did it, he was going to say he did it. But see, a lot of people don't understand. Walking in your truth will save you a lot of frustration. It'll save you a lot of frustration, right? Let's get on over here to let's see. We're gonna listen to a little bit of this, and then I'm gonna bring up the clip of Bernie Mac's daughter and what she said.
I wasn't frequently tried as a young person.
Yeah. So I'm asking some of these questions that I'm asking because I'm really trying to figure out, like, how did you develop your psyche? Like, you're a very insightful dude.
Right.
Just trying to figure out, like where did that start at? Can you pinpoint a specific time and space where you said, you know, yeah, I get it. I see what's going on.
Yeah. I probably like 5 years old.
Now listen here. Now he's going into his talent. Right? And this is the thing. Sparkle, I get what you're saying, but if someone says, you know, they don't go that way, they didn't go down that route, we gotta respect it. You know? I think that he's a very impressionable man that society don't get to see on a regular. So when you have a Black man that's calm, that's relaxed, and that can really actually have a conversation with you, that can challenge you on certain things, oh, now he's suspect because he's not the typical guy that's going to be out here going back and forth with somebody over, you know what I'm saying, his sexuality, or the things that he do like, or things that he just won't indulge in. You see what I'm saying? So it really gets deep. It gets deep. You know, I say let live. You know, let him live. You know, he said he didn't do it. But like I said, we don't get to see a Black man be vulnerable and talk calm. I mean, look at social media. Look at Blueface. How was he talking to the women? How was he treating his mother? And then the woman that he's with, and put hands on his mama. You know, we need to put our anger and we need to drive our frustrations to those type of situations, you know? Let's go.
First and foremost, this is going to sound really, really weird, but I believed at that young age that you could have a relationship with God. And I know that that's kind of old-fashioned now. But when I was young, that's what I believed. And so I developed this relationship where we talk 4 or 5 times a day, and we talk about everything. And I'm coming to you when things are well and when it's not well. And if I ask for something, I know when you gave me what I asked for, because it's the only time. So I understood at a young age that I wasn't like everybody else, that I was in a blessed position, and that I had the ability to be able to make things happen if I could find the instructions and follow them. So at 5 years old, that's how I thought. I knew when things were wrong with the Bible. I wasn't worried about authority because God was like the authority. And other than that, I got to tolerate you, but I'm not allowed to bow down. I'm like that.
I love that. And you know, this has always been my motto. You know, I've always went to church as a young kid. My mother, she was an exotic dancer at night, but every Sunday I would make it to church. I knew that there was a higher power. I knew that I could change things as well. And speaking of changing things, at a young age, I saw my dad beating my mom, and I saw men like fighting her. And I told myself, one day I'm gonna be able to protect my mom. And one day came. Let's go.
As a child. So my parents didn't do anything wrong. They just wanted me to live a life that I wasn't going to live. They wanted me to be this, and I was not free to live a double life. I can't be that and be what I'm trying to be.
What was that they wanted you to be?
A part of their religion. They were very devout in religion.
Christian?
Yes, a branch of Christianity, yes.
At one point, did you become a Muslim?
At one point, I became several religions because that's the only way you can really find out what's going on in a religion.
Get in there, do the work, get the education. That's the strategy right there. That's the strategy. I'm not going to listen to what somebody tells me. I want to learn this on my own. That was your experience. I don't know what energy you had or what you were going through at the time and why it was a bad experience for you, but let me see on my own to see what this experience is about. You know, let's go.
Religion is not something that you can just study the books about it and now you know about them. I had to be a member of the Fruit of Islam in order to know. Minister Farrakhan calls me his son. I was not regular even in that endeavor, just because whoever the true God is, I don't play about him. And I understand that regardless of what you choose.
Go ahead. Listen here, I can definitely testify to that. Let's be honest. I don't care what nobody say. Listen here, I'll bring God up. I'll tell y'all what he did for me at any given time. I will never be ashamed of my higher power that has brought me through so much. When you talk about drug addicts and things like that, when I was out there on drugs and when I got up off drugs, I didn't go to no rehab. I was healed. It wasn't for me. It was for me to go through and be able to heal those that are out there on it. I had to be in that mind space. I had to experience it. I had to experience my last dollar, calling that number saying, hey, come over here, let me get that hit. I want to get high. I had to see what that felt like in order to speak about it. I'm clean. I'm sober from that. But I have to go through it to let somebody else know. That's not it. That's not it. The emotions that I got from it, from using, why I was using. Let's get into it. Let's go.
The calling is the same entity. And once you study all of the religions, you find out that nobody's really disagreeing with anybody. The Jews don't believe this whole set of things that Christians don't, and Muslims either.
Why are people so afraid of Farrakhan?
Well, if you had the ability to control the black people on this planet, there isn't anything that you couldn't take, dismantle, destroy, or interrupt if you could mobilize black people. And so part of the ops agenda, a part of their modus operandi, is to find out which one of you niggas is a potential leader. And if you are, then we begin a work of progress on your life, which will make people get off of that. It's a part of it, as much as in any defense, you're trying to figure out which way this dude is likely to go so I can rip that ball. It's the same.
Yeah. Farrakhan is a polarizing individual. A lot of people really, I do believe, don't really understand him. I think that there are people who gets the message. This is what frightens them, is because they know, as you alluded to, they.
All right, guys. So I think that that's a safe place to kind of, I think that's a safe spot to stop. I'll go ahead and drop this interview down in the chat. Now we're going to go ahead and go over to what Bernie Mac's daughter said, and I feel like it's very important that we even address this right now because, it's her dad, it's her dad, and only she knows that story and those Hey, Evolution 101. How are you, my brother? Yeah, I think that we should bring her up because I mean it just makes sense. Let's go.
So I keep getting lots of contact about my thoughts on the Katt Williams interview on Club Shay Shay. The interview heard round the world. And I don't know, my take is probably going to be really, really boring. Number one, I want people to keep in mind, my dad has been dead for 15 years, so I have not been fully immersed in the world of comedy. I don't know the ins and outs of that like that anymore because my end has been gone for 15 years. You know, I've got friends in the game, but we don't sit and talk about, you know, stuff like that. So I don't know Katt Williams. Never met him. That's one person I never did get to meet when my dad was alive. But from everything that I've ever heard my dad, you know, say, he's always seemed like a stand-up dude. So I have no problems, no quarrels with him. So I keep getting lots of contact about my thoughts on the Katt Williams interview on Club Shay Shay. The interview heard round the world. And I don't know, my take is probably going to be really, really boring. Number one, I want people to keep in mind, my dad has been dead for 15 years, so I have not been fully immersed in the world of comedy. I don't know the ins and outs of that like that anymore because my end has been gone for 15 years. You know, I've got friends in the game, but we don't sit and talk about, you know, stuff like that. So I don't know Katt Williams. Never met him. That's one person I never did get to meet when my dad was alive. But from everything that I've ever heard my dad, you know, say, he's always seemed like a stand-up dude. So I have no problems, no quarrels with him. So I keep getting lots of contact about my thoughts on the Katt Williams interview on Club Shay Shay. The interview heard round the world. And I don't know, my take is probably going to be.
I got one daughter. My daughter, 21 years old. My daughter been in school for the last 4 years. Anaheim, the last 4 years of my life, me and my wife been swinging. But I had to fuck up 2 years ago. I got 3 new additions in my fucking family. 3 new fucking kids. My sister kids. You know, I ain't ashamed. We family. You know, my sister on drugs. Yeah, I ain't ashamed to tell you. I got her kids. You know, some of your family members fucked up. You're gonna be looking at me all fucked up. Your family fucked up too. I'm just happy to tell you about it. Yeah, my brother gonna call me and say, man, they're gonna take the kids. So, you know, I said, no, I couldn't have that. I came to court. The judge gonna separate the kids. You know, I should let the judge do that, but I didn't know. No, I'm giving these motherfuckers back, man. I ain't scared. These motherfuckers get on my fucking nerve, man. 3 fucking new kids in my damn family. 2, 4, and 6. Ooh, shit, come help me keep these motherfuckers. I got one daughter. My daughter, 21 years old. My daughter.
Girl, how y'all doing? What's up, baby? Did you hear what's going on? Bernie Mac.
Hey, he stayed. You stay.
Hey, this is Dee Dee Davis, and I just had the best conversation on Bernie's Daughter's podcast.
I infiltrate the Illuminati and see what secrets they got in there. And then I grab some and I run back to y'all and bring them to y'all. And they would kill me if they could. But I'm too fast.
I cannot wait to go see Katt Williams in February when he come to Birmingham. But it's one person that benefited from that interview the most, and that would be Bernie Mac's daughter. I want y'all to hear what she had to say and how much she was appreciative of Katt Williams in his interview.
Katt Williams has my utmost appreciation and respect for giving my dad his props and his flowers. And I felt like it was genuine. There are some people who have given, you know, my dad his flowers now that he's dead that I'm looking at like, you know, doggone well, he wasn't doing that when he was alive. And that, not just famous people, just people all across the board.
So when you talk about talented, can we really say that, Katt is very much so talented? When we talk about talent, Bernie Mac was very much so talented. Happy New Year to you, Evolution 101. And hey, Norris Tony, guys, get on over there and check out my fellow content creator, Norris Tony. Okay, get into it. So what are y'all thoughts? How do y'all feel about it? Do you all feel like Katt Williams do you all feel like Katt Williams is doing the most? Do you want to hear more? Are you going to see here? Actually, I'm going to put a poll in here. Are you going to see Katt Williams on tour? All right, is Katt Williams bitter? 75% said no, 25% says yes. I don't believe he's bitter either. Are you going? Yes. So are you going to see Katt Williams on tour? Let's go ahead and see. Okay. Now we got that poll up in here. Yeah, I really, I'm going to be honest. I really enjoy when it comes to comedians. And when we talk about this generation of comedians, like with Bernie Mac, it's like real conversation is not buttered up and artificial. And we definitely understood, what comedy was. That was like the authentic comedy. Very authentic. When he shared the story about his sister losing her children. And he says, well, I'm not going to let, my nieces and nephew or whoever go into the state's custody. We have some people out here that will sit up here and watch their family members go down, and they will watch them go down just so they can have something to say about them or make them feel less than. There's some family members like that will sit there and watch and enjoy it. Oh, that's what she gets. She needs to get herself together. Well, what did that have to do with the little ones, Evolution says Katt spoke his truth. It's very cutthroat in Hollywood, and he's always been an outcast in their eyes. And listen, being an outcast, I don't mind. Because I march to the beat of my own drum. I'm not going to go along to get along. I'm going to stand in my truth, and I'm going to speak my truth. Control, no. Can't do the control thing, just can't. And when you talk about control, he spoke about earlier in his life, the reason why he wanted out, kind of away from his family or just kind of explore and grow on his own, is because they wanted him to live a life that he just couldn't live up to. And with that right there, it takes a lot of courage. It takes courage to say, you know what? Not gonna roll with that. I'm not going to get on this train. I'm not going to get on this train. And that really makes me excited to know that it's okay to not roll on the train. I'm not going to get on it. Sometimes our people will set up here and they will, put us in some positions. So where to be like, are you kidding me right now? You know, are you kidding me right now? Well, speaking of are you kidding me right now, I believe that's what Monique was feeling when she went on to the Steve Harvey show. You all remember that, right? You all remember? All right, let's go ahead and bring this photo up and let's go ahead and get into this tea. You know, we can't leave Monique out, you know, because Monique actually went out there and she fought for something for us.
This is Monique, man. I'm telling you.
Baby, he be saying it like I'm a problem.
Oh, you have been a problem.
Well, Steve, okay.
What was it? Let's go.
Let's go.
You started getting labeled.
Well, let's be honest. When it comes to Black women, some of us can be a problem. Even some men could be a problem, right? Let's be honest. Everybody can be a problem, but putting it on one person because they want to stand up for what's right in their life and what they see in their eyes, and they're not just going to, let's go.
Well, that's difficult.
Yes.
Why do you believe that happened? And do you see that changing, and why?
I got labeled as difficult. My husband and my husband is Sydney, who happens to be my manager. We got labeled as difficult because I said one word, and that was no. Now, I said no to some very powerful people. I said no to Oprah Winfrey. I said no to Tyler Perry. I said no to Lee Daniels, and I said no to Lionsgate. And the difficulty came in when people that look like me, like Oprah, Tyler, Lee Daniels, and I gotta put my brother Steve on the list. Y'all knew I was not wrong. Each one of you said to me, Monique, you're not wrong. And when I heard you go on the air and you said, my sister done burnt too many bridges, and there's nothing I can do for her now. Steve, do you know how hurt I was?
But Simone, now let me give you this. Because you and I had to...
No, let's get into this. Let's get into this. When we think of Monique, we think of... When I think of Monique, I think of the Parkers. Her and Kim, Countess Vaughn, you know, they were like, oh my God, those were like the good days. And like I said, when comedy, you know, back then, you know, when Comic View was out, I don't know if you all watched Comic View, but Comic View was my thing, okay? I would watch it and, you know, BET Uncut, you know? It was like when it was fun, I don't know, everything maybe wasn't right. I was young, I didn't know what was going on, but let's get into this interview. Let's go.
This conversation,
Mm-hmm.
I thought you went about it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
See, I felt that you had done yourself a disservice by the way you...
So why wouldn't you come out and say, okay, you went about this wrong, or call her up and have a private conversation? Like she said, you went on air, you did what you said, you did what you did, you said what you said. You did what you did, you said what you said. You hear me? You did what you did, you said what you said, but let's go.
chose to go about it.
Tell me how I went about it.
I was cool with you, with your deal with Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
I was cool with you. The two problems that we had,
Mm-hmm.
number one, the boycott of Netflix.
Yes.
We never gave people a point of action.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if we're gonna boycott, are we gonna not get subscriptions? Are we gonna turn it off? Or are we gonna go down there and get signs?
Mm-hmm.
The second point, what was coming to me was, this problem that you had at Netflix is rich people problems.
Mm-hmm.
Because they looking at us going, you talking about you didn't get millions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got this, you ought to be cool.
But when you say, Mo, it's the way you went about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to explain that, and I thank you for saying that. Inequality is devastating, and it's extreme. And when people said, Monique, do you think calling a boycott was extreme? You damn right. But isn't inequality extreme? So we've got to get to a place where we're unafraid to say it out loud.
Okay.
What I would have loved, what I would have appreciated from my brother was had you picked up the phone before you went on the air and said, Monique, you've burned too many bridges and there's nothing I can do. See, I would have appreciated had my brother called me up and said, baby, let's talk.
And see, that's the thing. Certain people don't understand what a conversation can do. You got some people out there that'll rile it up, that'll get everybody excited and do this and do that. Oh, she's being a problem. But what you fail to realize, that problem is going to benefit you. You all, Yusuf has a new channel. Please go over and check in the kitchen, in the teal kitchen, with Yusuf. That's my brother, and he's a part of the Primetime Mixer. If you guys did not catch the Primetime Mixer, go on our video, our streams, our streaming broadcast, and definitely look that up and check it out. All right, let's get into it.
Because you doing that was a part of me being difficult.
But not before that, though.
Yes, baby.
Remember the moment on stage?
Oh, yes.
See, now that
was
right
a
there.
wonderful moment.
No,
Steve.
it wasn't.
Oh, my goodness.
No, it wasn't.
That was one of those moments.
See, no, it wasn't.
Shout out to our royal member, Wani11 up in the building. Shout out, shout out, shout out. If we all can please take the poll, please like and also drop your butterflies. If you want to see some change, drop those butterflies in the chat. All right, let's go.
Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Lee Daniels to suck her private parts.
Not my private parts.
Well, you said if I had one,
yeah,
I want them three to suck my private parts.
Yeah.
It wasn't private parts on stage. So now, then I went, I quit breathing. I quit breathing for you.
I didn't.
What happened to you, Mo, was when you made that statement, the narrative got flipped. It wasn't about Netflix no more. It wasn't about Netflix no more. The attention was all off of where we needed to go. Huh?
That was before Netflix.
So good. So now when you bring up Netflix, it don't get no win, but you done just said this to these three people. And these three people,
yes,
not because they're powerful, but because of who they've come. And what happens is, I told you, we can't cure darkness with more darkness.
What we can do is cure it with comedy. And what I'm not gonna do, Steve, I'm never, ever gonna waver.
Great point. You can cure it with comedy. The thing with comedy is you can take stuff that happened in your life and show, you know, you may, this stuff may, you know what I'm saying? Us as the culture, that's our form of communication. I feel like that's the only time that we can come together is when there is comedy. Let's get back to the root of that. Please like, share, subscribe, and join the convo respectfully. Absolutely. All right, let's get into it.
From my comedy show on that stage, that's my gift and that's my freedom. And what happens is when you allow people to start taking your freedom and your gift and making it become what makes them comfortable, we then lose. When you called me with the morning show on the phone, I said to you, Steve, my family is suffering behind this. And y'all know I did nothing wrong. Y'all know my husband did nothing wrong. But none of y'all in real time, was strong enough to go publicly and say, we can't throw our sister under the bus.
Listen here, not only him, but Taraji. Look at Taraji right now. Taraji is now coming out and saying, we don't know if it's was to promote, or I just don't understand what Taraji's. I don't know. When I look at it, she just seems like she's just all over the place. You know, to be honest, I kind of feel like she was all over the place. Taraji, baby, you were all over the place. And you should have been over there with sis. You should have been over there with sis Monique and really helping her in the time of need. Because like I said, while people were laughing, those were the same things that are going to help you in the future. Let's go.
As we try to come through this, because what I want really is for you to come through, because I know who you really are. And so what I want you to do is come through this with a different way. Because you, Monique, you my girl. I love you, little sister. I hate what's happening to you. I hate what they're saying that's not true. I want them to know that you are Carrie, that you're a great mother, that you're an incredible talent. I don't like the fact that you've been blackballed. You can be unblackballed. You too talented to have to worry about all this where the next one coming from. I want this to end for you. I want it to end for you, Monique, because I love you. Because these people are doing it the wrong way, and you better than that. You are better than that. I probably should have called you as soon as, but I didn't. I got a lot of stuff going on, so I didn't. When I did call you, I listened.
You know, and that's really where I have to back up. That's really where I would have to back up, because it's like, okay, you shoulda, coulda, woulda, but you didn't. You did it for all of these other reasons besides, you know what I'm saying? It makes me feel like it wasn't genuine. It wasn't genuine. Steve, it did not feel genuine. Like your coworker and her husband. Allegedly. It just didn't work out. Well, listen, here you all. We have come to the conclusion of this broadcast. I definitely want to thank you all for coming out today. Everything was here that was said on the channel is all speculations. We don't know these people. This was not done in malicious intent. This was under the Fair Use Commentary Act. Please sow a seed of $11.11 into this platform. There is a Cash App. Until next time, so long.